June 28th garden update. So the vines have started to climb. I'm having a lot of issues with squash bugs, and I believe I have an issue with squash vine borers because one actually started to die on my buttercup squash. The spaghetti squash is doing great. I have squashes up in there. This is cantaloupe that's growing in the bed. And then this is butternut, the normal sized one. I forget what the name is called. And then I have baby honey nut over here, and they're doing great. They don't get that big. And then these are all ground cherry that self-seeded from last year. So that's been interesting. I put down more squash seeds because my squashes on the other, well, actually these are not squashes, I'm sorry, these are melon. These are honeydew, or no, this is Kajari. I can't make up my mind. This is Kajari melon, and the ones that I have on the opposite end over there, they're not doing too well. The cucumber beetles are just attacking it, and I don't know. So I just decided to start more seeds just in case. These are carrots. They can come out. They finally started growing. And then more volunteer ground cherry. Then this is winter melon, and again, the bugs are just having a field day with my plants. And that over there is rambutanti. So that's my outside garden. And once one reader had said that, why don't you grow marigolds near your squashes so that the squash bugs will leave it alone. This has been here since the start, and it's not working. So let's go inside. I have a tomatillo here, and then I have another squash plant over here. I have some eggplants and a banana pepper and my huge basil, big leaf basil. They're really big. Look how big this leaf is. And this is my Kajari melon plant. Like I said, something is killing the vine. I don't think this is squash vine borer, but I think it's cucumber beetle disease, where they're infected with, I can't remember the virus, but when they bite it, the whole leaf wilts. The whole plant wilts. So there's that. This is water spinach, and it, typically nothing eats water spinach or sweet potato vines, but this year we have a lot of insects. The birds are just full on cicadas, and they're not eating anything else. So this is the outcome of my garden this year. Lots of holes everywhere. I don't spray, I do spray DE, but I don't really use anything else. So this is my long bean plant, and it too is having a lot of issues, but it's producing beans, so I guess it's okay for now. And this is my sweet potato vine, and again, there are these little worms this year that are just eating my leaves. And I've never, in all the years that I've grown sweet potato, I've never had anything eat my sweet potato vines, and this is a little bit nuts. So yesterday I relocated 2 ground cherry plants from another bed because they were just too tight. They've just taken off. Last year when I grew the ground cherries, they weren't this big, and they're humongous this year. So I pulled up to, this one's still recovering from shock. It's starting to perk up a bit. This one was, this one recovered from shock. It's all perked up. Yesterday it was all limped over. I removed all my leafy greens from this bed, and I'm planting some tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, just to see how they do on this wall, because leafy greens did not work that well on this wall this year. So I don't think next year I'll put leafy greens over here. But it was worth a try. My garden's still new, so I'm still testing out, different spots on how things do. Leafy greens didn't work, but kale and collard did. So this is my red cabbage that I'll pull eventually. If it starts to go to seed, I'll pull it. I didn't have the heart to pull it just yet. Cayenne, my romaines are about to bolt. I don't see the flower head in there, but they're looking like they're about to bolt. And then I put some green onions down, and I took out all the leaves to my kale. I have, little white moth that are attacking my leafy greens, my kale and collards. So I pulled off all the leaves so that I can get rid of the white moths, or they will multiply very, very fast. These are my Swiss chard. I thinned them out the other day. These are my second sowing Swiss chards. They're doing great. My oregano, my Italian parsley down at the other end, chives. The Italian parsley can come out, but I was leaving it for the pollinators to come. But it's starting to become a huge mess over there, so I may just pull those. So back over here, I have my, so I had a bunch of kale and collards along the side bed. I removed what I could, and I planted them here, and I de-leafed them all because, like I said, I had a white, the little white flea moth fly or whatever they are issue. And then these are my overwintered kale, and I also took off all the leaves. One, they should have been pulled so we can eat them, which I did. I have 4 baskets full, and this is what's left, and they're growing fine again. Then over here, it was my snow peas that epically failed this year. I just don't know what happened with them. They really struggled over here. Typically, last year I had my snow pea along this fence, and it loved it. So I decided to move it to this bed to try it out, and it hated it. So now I'm scrambling to put stuff in. I had a few extra plants, so I'm sticking those in there, and then I had some Swiss chards, so I'll leave the Swiss chards there. Some green onions. So this is a mismatched bed this year. And then my Royal Corona beans. So this plant, it's filling in nicely, but the flowers are all dropping. Look, I just have flower stalks with no flowers anymore. They just drop. They're not setting. Some people said that it's not wet and I'm not watering enough. Some people said it's too hot, too windy. I don't know. I've never grown this bean before. I've actually hardly grow any other bean other than the long beans, and they don't take much. This has been a learning experience altogether. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm watering like I normally water. The humidity now and the heat has set in, but I mean, other people grow stuff. Other people grow runner beans in hot weather, and they do fine. So I don't know. I mean, when they drop their flowers, they drop them when the temperature was really nice. It was like 70 degrees, and we had rain. Now no rain, and I'm watering, and they're still dropping. They can't make up their mind. I mean, I'll leave it just because it's pretty and it'll give me some shade. But other than that, I don't think I'm getting much out of it this year. I was so excited about it too. And So yeah, I don't think I'll grow them next year. And then over here is my okra and my perilla plant that I pulled out from the greenhouse. They're doing great. And then my one bitter melon plant, it has taken off. I mean, it is really filling in nicely. I didn't think one plant would do it, but it's doing it. It's doing its thing. And fruits are starting to come in. And it looks pretty awesome. So I will do this again next year with the bitter melon climbing this trellis. So okra, and then my zucchini plant. I have a few zucchini in there that I have to pull. My fennel. Oh look, caterpillar. Can you see it? They love these plants, but they're doing great. I need to pull those soon. These are my peanuts, and they flowered and they're growing, and they're doing this. I'm really not doing much with it other than letting it do its own thing. And then over here, I have another perilla plant doing its own thing. Then this is an extra tomato plant that I had earlier in the season. I put, they're both cherry type tomatoes, so they're there. And then this is a very big tomatillo. So let's see if you can see it. It's supposed to get a lot bigger than that. So they're still growing, and it is wild. This plant has just gotten so big, I don't even know what to do with it. So I know next year it needs a bigger spot. And these are my ground cherries, and the two that I showed you where I removed it from here. It was just so tight. So ground cherries are doing great. They're just huge this year. They've never been this big for me. These are my hot peppers. So they've been interesting. Some of them have started to pepper out, and some are just still doing its thing and growing. So this is my miscellaneous not Scotch bonnet that I posted about yesterday. So at first I thought they were shishito, but I don't think so because they're so big. And then someone suggested maybe peppercini. I don't think it's peppercini. I think it may be like a cubano, or one of the bigger peppers, probably a sweet pepper grown in the wrong spot. So I'll stay there. And then my tomatoes. You haven't seen them in a while, and look, they are 6 feet tall. They're actually taller than my greenhouse now, and they are just crazy. They have tomatoes on them, as you can see, but compared to my previous year, this is not a lot of tomatoes. It's more leaf growth, more plant growth than putting out tomatoes. So it's telling me that my bed is probably nitrogen rich, and I need to fix it. So that's something I'll have to consider when I amend the bed or add some fertilizer in a few weeks, because these are heavy feeders. Typically I add chicken poop, but I may just add tomato tone or garden tone, since it's a little bit more balanced. And the tomatoes, right now I need to figure out how to fix this so that it can set off more flowers and leaf growth. I've been trimming out a lot of leaf every 2-3 days. So, but look at all the flowers here. I don't know, maybe it'll self-correct. Then over here I have my eggplants and sweet peppers. Eggplants are finally setting, which is exciting. I have, I think, 5 varieties of eggplant this year, so it'll be an interesting mix. And these are my sweet peppers. They're doing great. They're finally growing. I mean, you guys saw how small they were before, and look at the peppers now. They have, some of them are loaded with peppers right now. The Jimmy Nardellos and Corbaci. Can you see? It's kind of hard. Corbaci's all in there, and Jimmy Nardello. Corbaci is the lighter green, and Jimmy Nardello is the darker green. And they're supposed to turn really bright red, and they're not spicy peppers. This is Poblano. It's supposed to be over in the hot pepper bed, but I didn't have room, so I stuck them over here. So there's that. And then my last section are my herbs. And they're doing great over here. My basil area is taken off. Next year I'll know not to put my thyme in there because it's getting crowded out. Then my asparagus and my squash area, my summer squash area. So let's see, is there squashes on that? No. But there's a lot of squashes on that. This is my round zucchini. My yellow crookneck squashes are doing great. They are just loaded. Oh my God, I have to pull those. I pulled a bunch yesterday and now they're loaded again. That one hasn't really set anything. And then another volunteer ground cherry. They just pop up everywhere. Then this is my golden zucchini. And my cucumbers are back there. They're not doing great at all. They are getting decimated by cucumber beetle. I bought a cucumber beetle trap, so I'm waiting for it to come. Hopefully I can save or salvage what's left of it. My gingers are back there. I have one cucumber plant in here that I grew at the same time as the other ones in my greenhouse, just to try and keep the cucumber beetles off of it, and it's doing well. So, I mean, it may have to be a greenhouse type deal moving forward, because my area, it's just full of cucumber beetles, all sorts of, you know, terrible pests. Oh, and in the back I have my turmeric. I don't know if you can see it. And then my acorn squash plant. And then I still have some beets to pull up. So this area is doing pretty well. So that's the garden update, and thanks for watching.